Right, I wonder if we're back. Are we back on? Let's see, let's have a look. See what YouTube thinks. You're live, although it's not showing me as live. Refresh that page quickly. Sorry, bear with me a sec if I'm on and you can see me. Alright, okay, we are on. Right. Cool, sorry. Okay. So we're going to try and pick this back up from where we were. So we've got the shoulder section shell built. We've got the oval added with some pins or whatever the hell they are. We've added some hex, we had a bit of a discussion about what they were, so we've added some hex bolts on there, rounded them off a bit. I think that'll do. Let's see if I can do effectively stay live for the next 3 or 4 hours and see if we can finish this thing off. At least get it to the point where it's kind of releasable and play withable, and maybe we could revise it at another point. Okay. So, a few more things left to do on the shoulders. If we look at a picture, that's probably not the best picture. That's a terrible picture. Let's close that for now. So what do we want? What have we got? Let's get rid of that. We don't need that one. So on the shoulders we have upper and lower collars, slats, mesh, obviously the rivets and what have you, and obviously there's the gun and the arm. So I think we're going to attempt, I think if we do the gun and the arm last, along with the eye stalk and the dome, then we can kind of automate moving those all at the same time. But I think if we go for the collars now, and then we can do the mesh and the slats afterwards, and that'll kind of wrap up the shell, and these are the extremities, they can be added later, this is not a big deal. So I think we'll have a go doing that first. Okay, so we're going to refer back to our Project Dalek plans for the dimensions of the collars. So there's the mesh and slits. Mesh and slats. There we go. There's the dimensions for the collars. So this is a kind of movie-like Dalek shoulder section. So, but I think the collars are all pretty much the same. So, ooh, not on hand tool. So key things to note: we got 25mm overhang from the bottom of the shoulders out the edge past the skirt. So what else it says actually? Have we got any more details than that? They've got obviously different dimensions for the two different thicknesses. Is there something that says how far out they are? Typically 16 to 18mm, be deep around the back. Right, so when they're talking about, so I think I've seen a picture where the it showed the spaces that went between the belt, the collars and the shoulders, and they were made from the same block board that the neck was made from, so I think they're about 16mm thick. But the comment there about being deeper around the back, that's referring to these two really difficult corners, that one there, and then likewise the opposing side there. So we need to make the outline of our collar kind of sweep out and stick out past those bits and then curve back in, which is the most awkward thing. I've actually seen real Daleks and they've had those bits, that corner kind of filed off a little bit to try and help, but I'm going to see if we can get away without doing that today, because it feels like cheating a little bit, but we'll see what we can do. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing that we did with making the shoulder shell, which is we're going to effectively take an outline. I'm going to take an outline of the top of the shoulders, so we're going to have like and I'm going to make it 16mm bigger, So if we imagine that ideally these collars follow the shape of that shell perfectly. So if I drew a circle that was 16mm wider than that one, well, 32mm wider than that one, and then we did the bottom shape and it was 32mm wider than the skirt or something like that, and then loft them together, and then we can chop it into the various bits. I think that's probably the easiest way of doing it. In fact, I don't really know another way of doing it, to be honest. It would be a nightmare. We're going to do that, and we're going to keep hold of we're going to loft it and keep it twice. So we're going to keep one copy of the loft for the mesh and the other one for the collars, which we're going to break up. So I think that's what we're going for. Okay, so I think we're back still online, are we? Yeah, okay, so we need to do what we did before to create the lower collar template. So I think what we might do is maybe we could attempt to, as a starting point, use that Akina spline, but maybe use the points of the skirt rather than the center points of the flat edges, and then hopefully we can work it such that it sweeps around the outside. Maybe I think that might be the way to go. So we're going to do that in the top view, and actually I don't even need the real shoulders visible to do that to start with. So we're going to hide those. I'm also going to hide the hemispheres because they're obfuscating things. Hide those, we're going to hide the fender. Just want to see the skirt section really, which we've got there. So let's have a go at trying. I haven't actually ever tried doing this before. I'm going to preface this in this way by using the points. So I don't know if it's going to work, but who cares? So let's do that. So I want to, if we just rough these out to start with, and then we can snap them to what we want to snap them to. In fact, if we use a B-spline like this, we could probably tweak these points to make it fit. Okay. So that's a roughed in shape. I think we want to, we just want to rejig this a little bit such that, actually what we could do, if we put this at the right height, then we can make sure it actually fits around the skirt. That's probably the best thing to do. So if we take we call that the collars bottoms spline. If we go to side view, go to object mode, and we move it so it has the same. Actually, we know that it's centered on 0, so we can scroll that along, pull it up so that it lines with the top edge. I'm just going to eyeball this because it doesn't really matter that much. It's all handmade stuff, isn't it? And then if we reduce that height by, we know that the collar overhangs by 25mm, so if we deduct 25mm off the height, minus 25, that's where it's got to sit, and then we know that because I've shoved it forward just to get it lined up, we know we can move that back to 0, like that. And now we've actually got that in 3D space. We know we can kind of see live whether that's going to be able to fit over the top of the skirt, especially these corners here where it's going to come in at quite a sharp angle. That's where it's going to get to be a bit of a problem. Yeah, okay, so in fact what I might do is let's add a circle now, and maybe if we can live edit it so it does fit. That's probably the best way of doing it. So if we've got the height for that correct, but we can drag that underneath. If we drag that under the shoulder shell is in the correct XZ position. So if I change that X position like that, then that should be in the middle of the in the middle of the Dalek effectively. Actually, I could shove that under gold Dalek, couldn't I? There we go. So that's right. So now we want to do is we want to add a circle like we did with the top of the skirt shoulders, but again, like I said, I think we want that to be 16mm wider on both sides. So 32mm, its radius 16mm wider, than the radius of the top of the shoulders, which is 533 divided by 2. So if we added 32 to that, we made that, what, 585 divided by 2? I think that would be okay. So let's do that then. Circle. Radius 585 divided by 2. And we're going to make that a child of the bottom. Actually, we're going to rename that to collars top spline. We're going to 0 the coordinates. Oh, it's also the wrong axis. Let's get that in the XZ plane. Like that. So this is why I moved it underneath there. In fact, I want to add 25 to it. And then I want to add the height of the shoulders on, so it starts up here. So the height of the shoulders is somewhere. Height of the shoulders is 323. Okay. So we're going to add 323. And then if we extract that from there and we loft those two together, like that. Maybe we change the order. No, of course not. It's not going to help, is it? Okay, let's go to point mode. Oh, might actually be worth doing this, changing the angle. Is that going to be right? Maybe that's okay. But we're going to change that object so that's, I don't know, maybe 128 for this. We're going to change that to 2. Could make that 32 or something like that. I'm going to turn that off for the moment. And we're going to view those splines in point mode. Actually, we go F2, it's probably the easiest way. So we know that that is the starting point of the spline. So we want that one, we need to make that editable to have the same starting point. And at the moment, it's completely opposite. So we want to, I think we want to spline, we want to reverse the sequence. And then we want to go down one, or that one. It's always whichever one, I don't know. Mesh, move, down sequence. Yeah, of course it was up. It was up. Move up sequence, mesh, spline, move up sequence. There we go. So they should, if we select both of those, they should have the same start point. So this time, this loft should work a lot better because we have a center point, so it shouldn't be trying to twist. So if we go back to the 3D view, F1, and then we turn our loft back on, that's actually not too bad. So now we need to frig around with these points such that it actually clears the skirt section. So that's probably a good starting point. Actually, what we could do is we're going to keep the Bezier. We're going to keep that Bezier spline. Sorry, B spline. Let's try Bezier spline. See if that's any better. That was not too bad actually. Notice that. If we go in the F2, that's kind of bent in a bit, so I might pull that one out a bit. No, that's a mistake. Interesting. Oh, because I'm on axis modifier mode. Let's pull that out a bit. I think that's okay. Then we just want to, we're going to have to try and work out how we're going to clear these corners. Could we just pull that out? Like that maybe? That's okay. Looks like we're going alright around here. That corner's clear, okay. So, okay, we actually alright, I think, maybe. sometimes it's worth rendering these, because sometimes it renders but doesn't show up in the viewport, so I might do that. Yeah, there we go. See that little point there? It's just poked through. Render again. Okay, what I'm going to do is turn the caps off as well, which doesn't help. None, none. We should see underneath. Okay, I think that's pretty much what we're going to get. We end up with these really sharp corners here, which is not ideal, but never mind. Okay, so I'm going to store this loft object and copy it. And I'm going to keep that away for the moment, because we can use that to generate the mesh later on. Okay, so if we do make editable, oh, actually let's undo that, because I want to turn off subdivision per segment and on that one. So now if I make that editable, we just get a series of lines from the top to the bottom parts. And that's our starting point that we can cut around to get our collars. Now that we know it clears, so I'm going to have to add some thickness to it, but what we'll do is I'll probably make the shape first and then I'll extrude it out by a millimetre or so. We'll make them a millimetre thick. I think that's probably the way to go. So this is going to be the key image that we're going to use. This one, and not really that one actually. The location of this transition might be quite important. So I'm going to go into the side view. 4. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Undo view. Keep doing that. So what I want to do is I want to add points to represent these offsets from the slats. So that is saying that bit there's 96mm, there's a 78mm gap, another 96mm for the top section, and then 50mm in for that step down bit. So what I'm going to do is what I did before. I'm going to add some points, and then on both sides, and then I'm going to cut between them. That's probably the easiest way of doing it. So let's see, where's the actual center, object center for that? I think we need to actually make that the center of the bottom spline. So I zero that object mode out. 0 tab 0 enter. And if I drag that back out, actually then because that's the same center, we'll do the same thing for that. Okay. So if we pull that collars. So now we know that the center, the 0 point is of that object is at the bottom edge, axis center, whatever. Then we can use that and add points from that reference. So I'm going to do tools, mesh, even create tools, and not going to do that because we need to be in polygon mode and we need to have that off. Sorry, point mode. Let's try that again. Mesh, create tools, create point. So don't need to create a point at the bottom edge, but we do need one for the 50mm front, the 96mm higher bit. Then we need the lower part of the top bit, the 50mm front of the top bit, and the top of the top collar. And I'm going to do the same on this side. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to make these two the same size, same height, 0. And then I'm also going to make them at the position 50, which they virtually are anyway. Next to 96. So that one and that one. Y size 0. Y position 96. Okay. Next line here is 96 plus 78. So that one and that one. Y size 0. Y position 96 plus 78, 174. Then I'm going to do this top one, which is 96 plus 96 plus 78 plus 78. And then I'm going to take 50 for that for the lower one. So that one is going to be, my position is 96 plus 96 plus 78. In fact, there's only 178, I don't know what I'm talking about. And there we go. So that gives us 270, which means these two must need to be at 220. So Y size is 0, Y position 220. And if I measure between there and there, measure between those two, it should be 50, which is what we got there. If I measure between those two, it should be 96, that one and that one, which it is. If I measure between that one and that one, it should be 78. If I measure between that one and one of these, it should be 50. And if I measure between that one and one of those, it should be 96, which it is. So we've got all our reference points in. So now I need to just start chopping the actual thing to bits and see what happens. So I'm going to use the knife tool, but this time I'm going to do line cut. You could do a plane cut, but I prefer doing it like this, really. Just because this is how I used to have to do it back in the good old days when Cinema 4D wasn't the way it is now. Okay, quite like this kind of zigzag thing that you can do though, so it's interesting. Click and escape. So we've got all our cuts in there now. Now I can delete all the redundant points. Each of those, delete. Each of those, delete. And these, delete. And then now it's about, we've got to try and get this profile right at the front. So, excuse me, actually one thing we could do to clarify things is we can delete all these middle polygons because they're not going to be needed. Oh, that's interesting. Why do we not get that one? Why are we not getting those? What's going on there? Oh, I know exactly what's happened here. Oh dear. Okay, so we buggered this up a bit. Let's go back. Let's go back to the cuts because I didn't have visible only turned off and it's buggered everything. So we go back to that, undo some until the cuts go in. To point mode, those points should come reappear. There. Right, now we need to turn those cuts off, and then we need to go knife tool, line cut, and we need to make sure we turn off visible only because it's cut one side and then left all the others. So try that again. That one to that one, that one to the to that one, 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 to that one. Escape. Right, I'm going to check that before I delete anything. There we go. That's all the way around this time. Okay. So now I'm going to delete the same redundant points. So those, and we're going to delete the redundant polygons that at least we know about, which are those ones. Okay. So apparently I have 0 views. Terrible. Are we actually live? Assume so. Let's search for 3D Dalek modeling. See if it comes up. Oh, it's coming up. Okay, yeah, just got no viewers. Never mind. That's all right. As long as it is, I've got no viewers. Not that I've just not streaming it properly. Okay, right. So back to where we're doing. So we need to cut in these angled pieces here. So now we need to put our shoulders shell back into position so we can align it with that. And this is where I might need a bit of a tweak as well. because sometimes so if we go back on F1, so sometimes you actually have the shoulders actually have to stick out a little bit here to be able to get around the gun box. So we might need to pull that bit out a little bit to be able to allow that to happen, but don't know that that's going to be an issue just yet. Okay, so we need to refer to our photographs to see exactly where we should be putting these cuts. So do we have a copy of anything? We've got this one, which isn't much use. We need some side photos really, don't we? Let's see if we can find one of those. Live modelling, reference pictures, original gold Dalek. Actually, as we're looking at this, currently looking at, if we focus at one side at a time, oops, gone. And we can refer to that one for that side. So we can minimise that. Okay, and we can actually make this not the entire window so we can see the photo. Right, okay, so usually I think you can just about make out, you can just see the tiniest edge of the upper slanted bit there, and you can see that the lower slanted bit kind of ends just a touch behind that second panel. So maybe I think it's going to end about there, and its angle is kind of about, don't know, it's about 2 to 3, isn't it? 3 high to 2 wide sort of thing. So it's about 60 degree, maybe 60 degree angle, and this one I think is set back a tiniest little bit from that. So I think we've actually got exactly what we want there. I think we've got an angle. I think we need to create a line that goes from about here to that point, and then we can delete that. So if we go into, now we do want to go into knife cut, and we want to actually, I'll tell you what, if we go to selection tool, make sure we can make sure we only select the selection only. Line cut, restrict to selection and visible only. So I think what we want to do is we want to cut from here to somewhere in the middle of there. It's not going to let me do it, is it? Something like that. That looks about the right sort of angle, maybe a bit shallower, to there, and then down like that somehow. Okay, I think that's that top bottom bit, and then the top one, I think that's going to start roughly about there, isn't it? I think so. Maybe this point here down to there, something like that. Maybe feels about right. Obviously most of that's hidden by the slat, so it doesn't really matter, but I think, oh sorry, let's change the selection so we can actually cut something. I think, yeah, so I think we're going from this point to about there, like that. So that's that side. So what you can do is just to make sure we see what we're doing. We can kind of delete those few. Actually, I just want to delete those 2 points. Let's make sure we've got 2 selected. Delete. Delete. Oh, we also want to delete this edge. There. Oh, I think by the looks of that, we probably need an edge going up here as well, so we can do knife mode. And we want that to go up to there, something like that. Okay, so that's, yeah, so the minor issue is that we're kind of still getting intersecting with that bit, so we're going to have to deal with that in a minute. But before we do that, we'll go around the other side and we'll put the other equivalent cuts on, and then we'll figure out what the right solution is. So what we need to do is find an equivalent picture on the other side. Like that one. That would do, unless we've got something more level. Not sure. It's amazing how many photos you can have, and yet how little extra information you get out of. Aha, Marine Daleks here. Good to see you. Yeah, you taught me, I had a Chinese that was waiting for me for 20 minutes, so you talked me into having a dinner break as well. Okay, that's interesting. That's not showing up on, that's post not showing up on Streamlabs. Oh well, never mind. Not really sure what that's about. You'll see it on YouTube though. Weird. Okay, so is that really the best one we've got? Sure, we've got a better reference photo than that. Maybe it is going to be this one, but I don't know. It's a bit of a funny angle. I suppose that kind of tells us. No, I don't like that actually. Let's go with this one. Okay, so we're kind of looking at a similar sort of place for that. So we were about, what, an inch in front of the that edge there, so maybe about here as a starting point. And we're going at a similar sort of angle, so we should end somewhere around there. In fact, maybe we could go, maybe we started there but ended there. Maybe that would be workable. Oh, see, that's a bit too, it's hard to tell because this is at a funny angle. So is straight up that way, or is it that way? I think it's probably somewhere like there. Should be that point, so I think we need to go from there. I'm not sure actually. It's quite steep. Is it there to there? That feels too steep. Maybe there to there. Like that. Let's have a look. Ooh, what's going on? Let's hide the shoulders for a second. I think that's what we're looking at. A bit messy from a geometry point of view, but never mind. I can tidy that up in a minute. It's about getting the shape right to start with. Okay, right, so let's put that back on. Shoulder shell. Now, so how does the top bit relate? Maybe that's the tiniest edge of a corner there, but maybe not. So it doesn't really, it's certainly not started as early as that, so I think we're looking at, do you know what, I don't know that that's as far away from the top as that looks. If we look at this from that angle, it looks like that transition is actually a bit lower. Ooh. What does that say? Remember that 7.2 has a skirt shim which raises the shoulders about half an inch. Yes, that's true actually. That is true actually. I was supposed to be modelling that, but I've forgotten about it. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Mind you, it might be because the skirt's shorter rather than because it's higher up. Where was I? Yeah, so trying to work out, I think we're looking at, if we had the shoulder slat end here and go straight vertical, I think we're saying that's the point where it starts. So I think we're looking at from there to there kind of thing. talking something like that maybe. I think that's about right. This one doesn't matter so much because you won't see any of it anyway, but we'll see. But I'm not sure if this, it feels like that upper band there is closer to the top of the shoulder section than it looks in our plans. But what I might do is adjust it after the fact. We can always change it, remodel it as we go anyway, so we'll stick with it like that for the moment. Okay, so now what we need to do is turn the shoulder shell off and have a go at deleting some of these points that we don't need. Ooh, oh, I deleted something at the back there. Never mind. Right, okay, well, God knows when I did that then. Oh well, we do our usual thing, patch it up. With the bridge tool, we're going to go B, right, that to there, do knife tool, knife in loop cut mode, shift halfway, and then we'll go, I think that needs to have a bit of a curve on it, so we just take those 2 points, shan't to, but if we select it with the rectangle, we'll go MQ to merge those together, and then we'll have to try and pull this edge out a little bit just to make it kind of keep the curve going. Something like that. Okay. Right, how are we doing then? So we've got a shoulder shell. And we're saying that this side here looks a bit like that. Kind of looks alright. I do feel like that uppers. It's downward angle photo though, it will look lower because of the offset of the belt. That's true, that's a good point. So actually, yeah, we need a more level photo to be able to determine where the shoulder, where that section looks. So let's get rid of that. So where's a good reference? Maybe there actually. So we try and match that sort of photo. Maybe a tiny bit too high, but we can always take the whole top shoulder and slide, top collar and slide it down a little bit. Doesn't seem like it would be a massive deal to resolve. What we do need to resolve though is the fact that it is intersecting with the gun boxes. And there's 2 ways of doing that. One, we move the lower collar down, or 2, we pull it out. And I suspect if you were building this thing, you would just make it go round the out. You kind of fold it round the outside. So if it had to go a bit further out at one point and not another, I think that's more likely what would happen. So I'm going to attempt to see if we can pull this out a little bit. So if we use the polygon tool, select a block of polygons, and then use the move tool with soft selection enabled, we can hopefully, let's change that radius up a bit, pull out the whole section, although I don't want it to affect these bits. So let's choose this. See if we can pull that out a little bit. Still kind of intersecting with this bit here, so if we select that one in particular, and if we change the axis to normal, there we go. So it's got a bit of a wobble on it, so we can just pull that bit out a little bit as well. And now it doesn't intersect, and that's most likely what would happen on the real thing. They just kind of bend it around the outside till it fitted. Excuse me. So we can do the same thing on the other side. I mean, this is just, these aren't going to be perfect because these are hand-built things, Daleks, really, even though they're supposed to be machines. So should be able to pull all of those bits just out a touch. Oh, you're going to be a pain in the arse. That's weird. Why does it think the normal's at that angle? Okay. There we go. So I've had to put a bit of a wobble in that bit as well, quite a bit, but that's not really a big deal. We'll just take one of these point and pull it out, try and smooth it out a bit. So okay, that comes, I mean, that goes out quite away from the skirt edge there, which isn't great actually. I'm thinking maybe we might just tweak that down a little bit. So if we select all of those polygons, trouble is then it could be intersecting in the corners. That's where it gets to be a bit of a pain. Move tool, object mode, just try to move that down a touch and see whether that ruins the back corners, because really I don't want to have this sticking out so much. Oh, that's a mistake. Let's try that. I just want to try and bring this back in a little bit. Back to move tool, orientation, normal. I want to push that back in a bit, just a touch. Doesn't matter if it's not like perfectly smooth, because like I said again, these things are folded pieces of metal, and the metal doesn't tend to fold perfectly smoothly anyway. Well, I'm going to do the same with this one actually. I'm going to select a few. Just kind of going to push it back in a little bit. Yeah, that's a bit better. Otherwise, it was getting a bit unsightly. You only have to move it down a couple of millimeters. And I think actually what I am going to do is, looking at that, I think I'm just going to take this whole top section. I'm going to shove that down just a touch. So we're going to take that lot. We're going to not do it in normal mode because that's going to confuse the hell out of it. So we're going to go back to object mode. I'm just going to move that down the tiniest bit. I think that's about the right level. Something like that. Excuse me. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's get that render, see how that was looking. Oh, I can see I've left a edge in there that I need to get shot of. I can also see that I've left soft selections on. Let's turn that off. So I should have, let's go good point. Let's go to configure the viewport. I want to actually make sure I know how many edges I've got selected. So we've got selected only, sorry, HUD, selected edges, selected polygons. So I can see I've got 3 edges selected there. So I'll click back on that. Move. Delete. And then we've got like the basis for our collars there. So what I think we might try and do is just tidy the geometry up a little bit. I don't want like triangles and 5-sided n-gons in there really. So I think that could do with being one big part there. So we can go point mode. They can all be merged together. There's 3 points, MQ there, and then we'll shove that along as well. But we still have a polygon. Sorry, a triangle. Well, I suppose a triangle there is not actually a big deal. It's probably okay. So go back to knife mode. Connect that, and I'm going to drag that down there so it makes a 4-sided polygon. Keep that, and then we're going to go up to this one, that bit. So that's like let's make this a 5-sided one. We don't really want that. Triangles aren't so bad, but 5-sided polygons are terrible. So we've got a similar scenario here. We could probably merge those two together. Just get a shot of a bit of extra geometry. We'll lose a little bit on the curve, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to be covered up. And then this one, again, those two don't need to be too separate. Okay, I think that'll do. So there's quite a big gap around the back there, but I don't think we can do a lot about that, unfortunately. Excuse me. God, I didn't much have some drink. I keep coughing. Maybe the prop is poorly assembled at the image I'm looking at. Oh, I'm not quite sure what you were referring to there, because I think I've skipped along a bit and forgotten what I was saying, or forgotten what we were talking about. Okay. So what's the next stage? We need to let's make sure this is all good. I think we need to give this some thickness. So we're going to take all the polygons and we're going to extrude it by 1 millimeter outwards. So that's going to be the inner edge, and we're going to extend it outwards, kind of out from the center by 1 millimeter. I think that's what we want to do. So I'm going to go Control A for all polygons. Don't want to be in the weld tool because that'll be a disaster. We're going to go D, extrude, and we're going to drag it out by 1 millimeter. I think that would be enough. Actually, do you know what? I might say 1.5 actually. That'd do. If we do Control A, just want to make sure that all the normals are aligned, and they are not. So we're going to go Tools, Mesh, Normals, Align Normals, excuse me. And we're going to do not reverse normals. I think most of them are right. Oh, I know what I haven't done actually. Let's do create caps. Actually, undo, 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 undo. Right. Now we're going to do that. There we go. So we want it to be a solid part. Right. Now if I do Control A, yeah, all the normals are aligned. Okay, so I made a mistake there. Right. Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. So this is where we actually need to get the geometry bit right, because I'm going to attempt to do a bevel on this edge, but if there's triangles there, then it can't really resolve the bevel properly. So So beveling this edge is going to be okay, it's going to be no problem. But doing this bit round here might be a bit of a problem. I suppose on the top one we could probably get away without doing it at all, but I think on the bottom one it's actually going to be a bit of a disaster. So what we really might want to do, so we got, well, I'll tell you what, I could demonstrate that before I try and work it out. So if we go U loop select edge mode and we select this edge, which is not easily done, and then I'll do bevel MS. Actually, I say that this is a new version of Cinema 4D, so maybe it's cleverer. I didn't do a bad effort. Actually, it's not too bad. It's figured it out. Usually it does not figure it out. Oops. Oh, just had a notification. What's that? Oh, I should probably turn that off in a sec. So actually, that's figured it out. So we're going to undo that because I don't want that many subdivisions. In fact, I don't want any. I just want a tiny little bevel on it. If I drag that out, actually that's not too bad. So yeah, I've improved some stuff then. Normally if you, on my previous version, when I tried dragging it out, I'd end up with a massive edge coming up here somewhere. That's not too bad, I can live with that. I think I won't bother doing the inner edge, because I don't see any benefit to it on the upper collar. U select MS. I think we'll just apply the same bevel to everything. Might also do right click and do break form shading. So that's that one, and then we're going to do the same thing around here. So U loop select. I'm going to bevel both edges on this one though. MS, enter, break form shading. U loop select, inner side, MS, enter. And then I'm going to do the bottom edge. U loop select. Actually, I could probably do both, couldn't we? MS, enter. Right click, break form shading. Okay, so now we have the bands with some thickness. What I might do is actually, let's have a go at, I don't think I'm going to do really any more changes to them, I'm just going to add detail to them, so I think we should try and UV map them. So I'm going to save that, I'm going to make that a child of the shoulder section. Which means it's actually inherited the same colour. Yeah, I'm going to go to polygon mode, select all, and then we're going to go to UV edit, and that's a disaster, isn't it? Oh dear, do you know what, I'm just going to go with the optimal, sod it, I don't even care anymore. Actually, I'll tell you what, I do care, that's unfortunately, I wish I didn't though. Let's see if we can just move these edges somewhere a bit more useful. So if we go into UV polygons, I want to try and get all of these top and bottom pieces and scale them down so we can maximise the size for the sides. Right, so I'm going to get rid of those. I might just get away with just kind of doing something like that. Probably alright, isn't it? Shove that there somewhere. Grab that one, move that over here somewhere. Maybe we can rejig this a little bit. Actually, maybe they can go. Maybe those can go adjacent to each other. Alongside these ones, like that. sure that section, shove it down here somewhere. Select all. We'll go fit to canvas. Oh, there we go. Alright, it's not exactly optimal, but it will do. At least I've done some sort of layout. Okay, cool. I'll do this. Save that. And we're going to commit that, I think. So git status should show that we've got one file change, which we do. We're going to do git add all. Then we're going to do git commit -m made a start on the collars. Something like that. Git push, so that's gone to the remote server so everyone can see it. Sorry, actually, I had a look at the front wall and it looks up to an inch proud of the skirt front skirt panel line. How long have you been doing this model? Have you had anything to eat or drink? I started at 2 o'clock, but I did have a half-hour dinner break at about 10 past 8. So it does take a while. And raise about a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch vertically. If I had a look at a few more, I'm trying to understand what you're trying to get what we're saying here. So we're talking about the let's go up an inch proud of the front skirt panel line. Inch proud. Are we talking about the transition? No, that's the front skirt panel line. I'm not sure what we're talking. Sorry, I mean I'm being really thick here, reading Dalek. I'm not quite getting what you're saying. Sorry. Right. Anyway, see if this. Oh, what am I doing? Let's go back to standard view. Just get a bit of a recap of where we're at. So we're kind of getting there, aren't we? It's looking alright. Looking alright. I think I won't bother. I was planning to do loads of stuff. I'm still way behind schedule on this. I was thinking of giving everything its own different texture and stuff, but I don't think we're going to do that. I was going to cut holes to the skirt. Probably not going to do that. I think what we'll do is we'll go around, add the actually I could do the mesh now because that because I've got this loft thing to try and use that for, so that might be a good this might be a good time to do it, and then we can go around, add the like screws around the shoulders, and then add the slats, and then could potentially add the blocks between the shoulders and the collars, but I might not bother because it's one of those things that unless you're here you can't see them, so I might give it a miss this time. Don't know, see how I feel. If I went on a time limit, I mean it would be no question all my other models have got stupid stuff like that in. I've even got a seat in one of them. Where the joining strip is in the middle front of the lower belt. Ah, I see what you're saying. So you're saying that instead of being perfectly level, right, okay, yeah, we can do that. So yeah, you're saying that this, instead of having this collar being completely flat, you're saying it's pulling upwards a little bit like Dalek 2 used to. So yeah, we can have a look at that. Let's have a look. So we're saying that yeah, you can actually see a kink there where it's gone up a little bit. Is that what you're saying, or are you saying that it's going up? I think you're saying this bit's going up, isn't it? Sorry, bear with me a sec. Sorry, my girlfriend's going to bed. Excuse me. So yeah, it's up a bit and also sticks forward of the skirt top about an inch. I think that's about, oh no, we are quite close to the top front of the skirt there, aren't we? So maybe we need to pull that out a little bit. Back to the photos, as with all things. I'll keep that one to the side actually. We do have some side-on photos really, we haven't got any good ones. Yeah, this is probably as good as it is. Yeah, I think you're right. So yeah, we're saying that this at the front, that is quite a bit further forward than the top of the skirt, and it's kind of a very small arc, so instead of being, so that would be level, it's gone up a little bit, maybe from about here, and it sticks forward quite a bit, doesn't it? So we can have a go at doing that. I don't think that should be a problem. So what we want to do is you kind of want to grab the geometry at the front here. Maybe do the front 4 polygons. Do our move tool with our soft selection. We need that soft selection really widened. I don't really want to affect this stuff, that's what I worry about though. In fact, what I might do is I might separate those into 2 separate objects, otherwise it's going to get too complicated. So let's do that. If I go select that, we're going to do, well, where is this now? Split or something like that. Transform, commands, split. So that is upper collar. And this one is both. So if we make that, go back to point mode, delete those points. Now this is only the lower collar. And now I can do the soft selection without affecting anything else. So go back to F1, back to polygon selection. And we're going to select front 4 polygons with our radius quite high. And we're going to, can I change that to, actually no, we won't do that now, we'll go do that side view. We want that to stick forward about an inch, don't we? So kind of something like that. Maybe. I think it's something like that. It's kind of nitpicking, is what I never finish mine, yeah, it's true. What we're also going to do is if we change that to be normal mode, it's not worked at all. There is no normal for that, is there? Object 4, kind of pull it up this way a bit. But now we might have pulled that so it's back to intersecting, so we might have to sort that out as well. Do we just get away with it? Just. What about this side? No, I think we're right. There we go. So I pulled it up a bit and pulled it forward a bit. I think that's pretty good. In fact, that might be a bit too far forward. Try that. Now I've brought it up, it's come out quite a bit. So we refer to our drawing picture here. So I guess we want to make that angle kind of match. Basically like that. I think that's not too bad. I think that'll do for the moment. Okay, we are getting there. Right, so what I might do now is put the little wraps around the front of the upper and lower collars, and then go around and maybe do the screws. Maybe add some little indentation around some of those, like you can see on this one here. It's pulled in a little bit. Just give it a bit more sort of reality. Maybe knock this shape around a bit as well. Sometimes I like doing that. I normally give the collars a bit of a wibble wobble, but I might not bother this time actually because I want to time in it. But yeah, we'll definitely do that because I think putting the little dents in there looks quite nice. So what do we want to do? We want to make a collar wrap for the front, or joint there. So back to our Project Dalek plans then. So they've got dimensions for the joints. And we're reckoning 40mm in width, obviously a little bit wider than the collar itself. So, way you can get away with doing this is I might just put a big box over there around the edges and not make it actually a wrap, but just make it go through the middle of it. It should look okay. He hopes. So, let's make a cube. I'm going to call this collar wrap. If I make that a child of, I don't know, lower collar or something like that. Actually, I'll make it a child of the gum boxes, and it'll be a similar sort of angle. 0. Now I'll make it a child of the lower collar. 4. Good thing about this side, front and rear collars is you can pretty much just line them up on the side view. Just shove that in the middle somewhere like that. Rotate it. Excuse me. Then we can just scale it to fit. Actually, we want to be set back a bit, don't we? We want the midpoint to be halfway through the thickness of the collar. So ooh. 7 hours of counting, yeah. To be fair, I think it keeps coming up as the same stream, but this is like the third part of this stream so far. Right, so we want the width of this collar wrap to be 40. Like that. And that is way too thick. So we can knock that right back down. But obviously there's going to be a bit of a curve in there. But I don't think this wrap will have much of a curve in it, so I'm just going to keep it something like that. Try to centralise it on there. And then what I think I'll do is, looks about the right size, so I'm going to use the C key, make that editable. And I'm going to first bevel these 4 edges to make it look like it's bent around the outside of that, even though I'm not going to make it hollow. So we're going to go UB for ring selection, select those edges. We're going to go MS for bevel. I'm going to add a couple of subdivisions. And I'm going to pull that right. Ooh, that worked. I'm pull that right in. So it looks virtually like that. Actually, there's something funny about this one. Okay, we'll go. Oh, no, sorry, I'm not viewing the live stream at the moment. I'm viewing Streamlabs, doesn't seem to have the text on there. Maybe the shoulder section itself is a bit further forward. I did wonder that actually. It looks like when you look at this drawing, when you look at this picture, actually, well, that's a good point. Actually, I think actually the outline for the shoulder section that we have is a bit smaller than the real shoulders are. Because when I tried I actually had a shoulder section. When I tried placing it on top of a skirt that I built to these plans, it virtually went back, front to back, and went right up to the point rather than to kind of cutting off the point. So I don't know. It could be either, couldn't it? It could be set forward, but I don't know. I think we're gonna keep it there for the minute, just for because otherwise it's going to complicate the back. So for that, we're going to make a sacrifice for the purpose of simplicity of modelling, I think. Excuse me. Now, I thought there was something weird about this front collar, and yeah, it's completely on the piss, isn't it? Brilliant. So what's that? It's not quite square in the middle, and it's at about 10 degrees. So let's try and sort that out. So we'll go to object mode, set the collar wrap, good. So where does it line up? It lines up. It's a little bit offset that direction, like that, and it's on the wonk as well. About 10 degrees. Not even 10, 3 degrees or something like that. I do wonder if it's too flat actually. Was that flat? No, it's quite flat actually, to be fair. So then we've got 2 rivets by the looks of it, just under halfway up, and an empty screw hole at the top. Be right back, nipping into my time machine to measure up 70. Yeah, if only. It's one of my favourite ever Daleks, this one, to be fair. Excuse me, I keep coughing now. So, since I had this Chinese for dinner, my throat's been terrible. Excuse me. Okay, right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up the dimensions for a 3.2mm rivet. Rivet length 8mm, fixing hole 3.4mm, 8mm. So I suspect this is probably what we want from RS. So rivet length for 8mm. Don't know if you have a drawing for that data sheet. Body weight, flange thickness, flange diameter. Oh, there we go. So it's about 6.5mm, 6 to 6.5mm. We'll pick 6.5. Why not? Let's see how that looks. So let's try and model a rivet. So I think what we need, excuse me, because we're going to need this later anyway, so we're going to make one. Let's try with a tube, maybe that's a good place to start. Okay, so this is going to be called rivet. I'm going to make that a child of the collar wrap and zero it out. Slightly oversized, so we're going to make the inner radius, I don't know, 1mm maybe, and the outer radius was something like 6.5. 0.502. Actually 1mm isn't going to work, is it? What was the size of the I don't know what it's called. Mandrel. There we go. Diameter is 1.83. So actually a radius of 1's probably okay. It's probably about right actually. Actually, refer back to that again. We've got the flange thickness 1.1mm, so that's going to be the height of our tube. 1.1. We're going to make that in the x-axis, and then of course it's disappeared because it's in the middle of the box. I do wonder if I should make the inside of that black actually. Do you know what? Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Tell you what, let's shove this out a bit and I can make some adjustments. So, if I make that editable, C key, go into actually loop selection, delete those polygons. I'm going to loop select that edge in there. I'm going to press the D key. I'm going to go set 0 offset, and then I'm going to merge that together, so MQ. And that did not work. What did I do there? U loop select. Oh, for God's sakes, right. MQ. Click. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to need to kind of, I don't really have a good drawing of a rivet there, so it's only got the one side on it. Effectively you end up with something like this, don't you? So let's just blag it. Knife mode, loop cut. Let's cut that maybe. And if we go U loop select there. Oh, I'm going to do soft selection off. Pull that down. Oh, that's so annoying. Mesh commands. I don't know why they make them so they're not optimized. Why would you ever do that? Right. Pull that back like that somehow. So that's kind of what we want, isn't it, for a rivet, something like that. Oh, okay. Oh, two lots of Project Dalek opening. Oh, yeah, we can get rid of that. Oh, so it's making a noise at me. Maybe not that, never mind. Right, okay. So I think that's kind of what we want, isn't it? It's that sort of profile on a rivet. I wish I had one to hand right now, but I'm not clever enough to have gone and got one. And then we could just bevel that edge a little bit. And that edge. So what I might do is, if we go U loop select that, D key, 0 offset, then we're going to scale it in. Then I can put the bevel on all these edges. So we're going to U loop select that edge, that edge, that edge, and that edge, and we're going to go MS, one subdivision, undo because it never really works the way you want it to. Go like that. and that's probably the highest polygon flipping rivet the world's ever seen. But what I am going to do is I'm going to falsify a hole by selecting those. Go select, set selection, and we're going to make this one a black, just call it black, and then we're going to invert the selection, where is that, there, and we're going to set mesh, set selection, and we're going to call that gold. And that way I'm going to have a generic sort of black, matte black colour. And we're going to have no reflectance, and the colour is going to be right down to 0. It's just going to kind of absorb all light. So if I select that, we can chuck that on there. And then that one's going to be the gold. So that means if we have that sat on something, even though it's probably going to have a hole through the middle of it, but we don't want to fake the hole. So another nose through the pics. I think we might split the difference that shoulder section is centers front to back between the front skirt panel and the rear face of it. Feels like this is a bit too big actually. I'm sure this is too big. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. That probably looks alright actually. So we're going to go back to this reference. That is actually about the right sort of size. So now I need to place that on. Actually, what I'm going to do with this rivet is I'm going to set the. I'm going to make the object center snap to the back. Actually, I'll make it marginally behind the back, just so you can still see the black face. Not black face, as in that black face. Right. Okay, so let's pull that back there. Something like that. I think that looks okay, that'll do, wouldn't it? And we got that location of those two. They are about just under halfway, but they're level pretty much, aren't they? So we'll shove that down there, move it across, something like that. Is that alright? A bit further out than that even. And then we'll create another one. There, and then there's actually a hole in this collar wrap, so I'm actually going to make a copy of that, hide it, because we're going to use that at the top as well. And there was actually a hole in here, wasn't there? Joining piece looks substantial. I think the original slightly concave at the top fold looks a bit fatter maybe. Right at the top, like slightly concave. What, like that's bent in a little bit there. Like that's curved in a bit. It does it, that sticks out more than this bit. It looks like those rivets have pulled that in, haven't they? So maybe we could actually simulate that a little bit. But we need to put a hole around there. Let's do that, and then we can move it in a bit. Sure, I could even fake the hole by just putting a circle of black on there, couldn't I? Just do that. Probably the easiest thing I could do, because you're never going to look at the hole. Let's just do that. Give it the like the impression of a hole without actually being one. Hole. Make that child of the rivet. X, we're going to make it outer radius 1.5, so there's actually 1.6, so there's a 3mm hole sort of thing. that sort of size. That's just a bit bigger than that. I'd say it's about 4mm hole. Looks about the right sort of place. I think that's a bit lower than that actually. Select that rivet. It looks down a bit like that. Cool, yeah, that'll do. Kind of cheated a bit there, but bugger it. Mind you, it's not going to catch it. Well, so that should be alright, solid. Yeah, but you were saying you think this is a bit concave, and I think you're probably right. So I think maybe we can just cut across here a little bit and then just pull that bit in slightly. So if we do edge mode, set the collar wrap, knife, loop select. Let's cut a couple of little cuts in here. I think chances are if we do the move tool but with soft selection, but maybe nowhere near that bigger radius. It's got a bit of a bend kink to it. I think that's what we're looking at, isn't it? Okay, see how that renders. Cool, I think we're getting there. Kind of want to make a first movie red Dalek. Don't know if I could bring myself to cut the wonky skirt holes at the back. Yeah, the quandary, isn't it? Trouble with stuff like that is like, it's so easy to make it look like you just buggered it up, rather than because you've actually gone above and beyond and actually made it look more accurate. On my last Dalek, it just looked like one more thing that I'd screwed up, really, even though I meant to do it. So I don't know. I'm ambivalent. I kind of like. It's one of those things that like it appeals to me as a geek, as like a Dalek geek, and it appeals to Dalek geeks, but it looks like shit to everyone else. I don't know. I still haven't made my mind up. I kind of liked the idea before, but my opinions have changed a lot since actually doing it for real on a lot of stuff. Okay. So what do we want to do? We're going to do the upper collar wrap, which we can't. Can we see that? We can see that because it's behind the mesh. So let's see what we can see. Soddle. Oh well. Let's try a different picture. Not really got any good pictures of this, to be fair. Oh, I might have just had it in that one, but I think we're just falling short. Oh, again. That one maybe? Okay, yeah, that's alright, that's a good picture. You can see it's kind of like that. She looks pretty much bang in the middle, to be fair, actually lined up with the oval. So we'll just kind of copy this one really. In fact, can't tell. Actually, we can get rid of tortoise kit, can't we? You can sod off. Can we tell that there's a? I think there's just a central bolt there, like the 60s Daleks had. So we'll copy that, I think. So call that one front collar wrap, and we're going to move this one underneath the upper collar. People refuse to brush paint Daleks and try for a showroom finish, unlike the props they're copying. I guess given how the screen used Daleks of dubious provenance look that show up in Facebook links every month, the layperson won't care about the book. Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, real Daleks, yes. Yeah, fair enough, isn't it, I suppose. Right, let's grab this one and stick it on up there somewhere. I don't think this was quite. Actually, we can get shot of the rivets because I don't think we need those. Don't really think that one was on the wonk. So like that. Actually, what I found, I think that should be more in the middle. Let's see how it lines up. Yeah, so that's actually needs to go way across there. Like that. And I think that's probably about right. Can't really make it out, so I guess we'd get buy a bit of credit on that, I suppose. Yeah, just a hair short of the middle. Actually, it's probably bang on in the middle. Actually, oh, that is a bit of an angle there. Actually, it is on a bit of a canter, so we'll give that a bit of a tweak that way. Yeah, we'll just shove it right in the middle, a little dome-headed screw. I guess that's probably about the same sort. I guess they're about 6mm, 7mm sort of head. And an expert would appreciate the attention to detail. True. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to model a dome-headed screw. So how are we going to do that then? We're going to need to put a slot through it somehow. That could be a bit of a pain in the bum. So we'll give it a go. Sphere. It's going to be effectively a hemisphere, isn't it, to start with? So we stick that is it that the object? It's that one, isn't it? Stick that under there, zero it out. .24 is probably ample, I would have thought. Maybe even 18. No, maybe not. Maybe 24. So I guess that's going to be about 6 or 7, millimeters across. Let's try, I don't know, 3.2. No, that looks too small. 3.5. Ah, mind you, it's not. Ah, it's kind of buried, isn't it? It's not on the surface. And we also want that to be a hemisphere. And we want it to be in the right axis. I tend to find these things just slightly flattened down a bit, aren't they? So if we make that editable, go to point mode, select all, turn off this god awful flipping soft selection, change the modelling axis right down to, actually no, we'll go in object mode and then do it. It's probably the easiest thing, isn't it? I'm just going to flatten that down a bit, like that. Oh, that's interesting. Did I not bevel around the outer edge? Did I do that on the bottom one? No, I didn't. I forgot to bevel around the edge. Oh well, let's do that then, shall we? U loop select. I want to get that edge. MS. Don't think we need a subdivision. Control Z. Just. I'll tell you what, this is way better at beveling than it used to be. They've done a good job finally. MS. What's the geometry on this edge like? Oh, do you know what? I don't even care. Don't even care. Funny, both collar joints are on the wall. Yeah, they always are. They always are. I must have built this Dalek over an abandoned mine shaft. It's one of the most beautiful Daleks ever. Actually, do you know what? We're going to do this. I need to link this line to. I might actually. Let's copy that. And we'll shove that somewhere miles away on its own. Do F2 S. I would shove it over here somewhere. S. And we'll use the knife tool, cut across there, and try and make some sort of slot out of this. So point mode. Do I want point mode? I guess so. Knife, knife, line cut. Let's try going. No, that's loop. Knife, line cut. Let's try going from there to there, and then from there to there. Let's see how this works. And then if I can delete these points. And that one. Let's have a look. Yes. So now we've got a kind of cavity. What do we want to do? We want to probably extrude these edges and then set there. Yeah, let's try that. So if I go to edge mode, rectangle selections, try and select just those edges and maybe those ones. Maybe if I do an extrude, D key, 0 size extrude, and then I set their Y size to 0. And then I'll kind of pull that down to there. Maybe pull them in a bit. And I could do what, stitch and sew them together or something like that. I don't know. Mesh, transform tools, commands. Where is stitch and sew? Create. There it is. I think I want to go shift that one to that one. There we go. Knife tool, loop cut, shift halfway, and then use the bridge tool to go to fill in those little gaps. I don't really understand why those two polygons have gone on the piss. Oh, actually, maybe it's oh, right, okay, mesh normals, align normals. Well, that's not worked, does it? What's going on here? Why has this got a back to front normal? Delete. If the skirt did have the half-inch shim on, it would make the shoulders look like they were slightly bigger back to front anyway, because of the front rear slopes intersect. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I suppose actually, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I wonder if can we just merge these points together and then fix it? Thank you. All this bloody effort just to build a solid screw. Kind of works. I should have actually started with these two. Never mind. Bugger it, I don't even care anymore. That'll do. Let's go first. Let's call that screw head. That'll do. Kind of looks alright. You get the idea. So we make that a child of sphere. 0 out. And then it can replace sphere. And we can go S, S. There you go, that's not too bad. It's not perfect, but such a small part, it doesn't really matter. Right, so we've got the front and back wraps. I think we just need the front two wraps, and we just need the two back ones. But I might save that and commit that. How are we doing on time? Jesus. Open git bash here. Oop, it's not working. Git status. Got one file change. Git add dots. Add all the files. Git commit. Oop. Dash M. Added. Collar wraps to front of collars. Yeah, don't think it's in power, is it? That bit of wood on the top. We could do a quick segue, couldn't we? Reference pictures. So we've got, yeah, obviously Death to the Daleks. I'm like, oh, I've not got many pictures in here. Ah, dear, not my reference pictures folders. Some of them are good and some of them are terrible. D. Daleks, Power of the Daleks. I'm not sure it's in here. There's a picture of Dalek 2 with its top off. That one. No, that's Dalek 6, that one, sorry. Actually, yeah, it does have the doesn't really have the tape over it, but it doesn't seem to be quite as big. Don't know. What's interesting about those compared to my model, and which is I think that when I did the Project Dalek skirt plans, I screwed the hemi-spacing up a little bit, because we get rid of the shoulders. There's a much smaller. I'm sure there's a bigger gap between the top of those skirts, the top of those hemispheres, and the top of the skirt than there is on this one. I'm sure they'd have to be about here. I think I got the spacing slightly wrong on those. Never mind. Okay, shoulder shell, got that back on. We are getting there though, and it's kind of looking alright, isn't it, I think? Certainly serviceable. So the Dalek as a whole, I think that'll do. I'm happy with that on the top. Let's have a look at, see if we've got some pictures of the back. So, do you have any pictures of the back of the Daleks? Hope so. Oh, there's one of the back of the grey dark grey Dalek. There's one. There we go. That's enough. And that actually, that's probably better. Maybe it isn't better. No, and it's, yeah, it might be way later as well. At least this one's got the right dome lights. Oh look, it's on the wonk again. But it's the same thick, it's the same. Actually, what is going on there? Is it covered in crap and paint or something? What's this thing? Don't know. Put that to the side, see if there's anything else. Or is that? That's a similar photo. Don't know what that is. Anything else? There's that one. What have we got on there? Not clear enough. Oh, that was so close. It looked like the panels were narrow at the top. I think they kind of move in a bit. I've seen some tracings of a Dalek skirt, and I'm sure that if you make a skirt from the tracings, the top of the skirt ends up way too narrow. It doesn't look right. So I don't know if they kind of go in a bit at the top. Yeah, it's not looking good on the back of the Dalek front, is it? It's that one, we've seen that one, I suppose if you can't see what it is on the back, then it's artistic license, isn't it, I suppose? Can't really make anything out on this picture, it's way too low resolution. This one's not too bad, but the trouble is it's artifacted. I can't really make out what's happening there, and same on this one, it's probably the clearest, but there's something there, there's something there, so we could assume We can make a judgment call and say maybe they're rivets, so we could put like 1, 2, 3 rivets there maybe. I don't know. Well, that can't be a rivet, can it? Because that's going over the skirt, so I don't really know. We could just do 1, 2 rivets maybe. It looks like it's the same width, just taller. The shim, by the way, is a new thicker top. The ball protrudes over the ragged, sanded top edge of the skirt. Sits on the fiberglass that held the original top on. Is that because the skirt? I've never really known this. I know that's one of the skirts people have seen, isn't it? Is that because the skirt is shorter than the other skirts and they had to block it back up, or is it just because the wood had actually rotted away or something like that? I never really know the answer to that. It doesn't look like it's any taller than the other Daleks. Okay, right. I think we're going to have a punt at doing something vaguely like that, but I don't really know what it's going to end up like, so I can't really make anything out on that. So if we copy the lower collar wrap, maybe that's what we could use. So we'd make another copy of that and call that rear. F4. We'll drag that straight over to there. Rotate it. Actually rotate 180 degrees. And kind of get it to fit. Keep a bit of curvature in it. That's probably adding a bit of colour. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these top points here. I'm just going to slide them up. And grab the bottom points, slide them down. See how that looks. I think that was the sort of angle it was at actually. I think that was much closer to the middle, so at the moment that wrap's not in the middle. Oh, actually it's closer to the right hand side. It is not in the middle, it's near that right edge is lined up with the rear hemisphere. So we need to, what angle's that at? It needs to go the other, so go to object mode. I think that needs to go that way a bit, and I think it needs to move along a bit. That. Top probably felt a bit, so it was only block board. The prop's also a woodworm. Oh bloody hell! Actually, that doesn't surprise me. We got a bit of a kink going on there. It's not really very clear what's going on with that, so I might just do the old 2 flipping. I don't know really. Maybe there's a picture of Planet of the Daleks that makes it clearer. Excuse me. Let's have a look. See if I've got a reference picture for that. No, see, I don't have many pictures of that. I don't store it anymore unless I'm referring to them. I went for a habit of collecting loads, but now I've not really done that so much recently because Project Daleks Gallery's so good these days. Okay, well let's refer to that instead. So we'll go to, well, yes, Planet of the Daleks. Let's close that. Let's see if there's a picture of prop number 2. There it is from the front. Oh, there it could. That's it, isn't it? That's a Mark 1 skirt. That must be that one. Can't get over RAF 72 looks in Planet Commander Day, like the fact he didn't bother to remove the gun and respray it. Points. Whenever it points off centre, yeah. I guess that's because they left it as a gold Dalek, didn't they, for the Frontier in Space, and then they probably just spent 5 minutes just whiz one coat of oh, what's happening? That keeps happening actually every time I try and download something. It whizzed over one coat of come on, one coat of grey, and then that's it. There you are, job done. Come on. Oh, might be shit out of luck here. It's not going to let me download this one, I don't think. I tried it before. It keeps happening. Yeah, there's something going on. I tried that yesterday when I was trying to get all these reference pictures. It wasn't having it. I'm not sure if that is the same, actually. It's not lined up the same direction. Next. Ah, is that the same picture? That one going to let me download it? Ah, there we go. Well, that's cleared that out then. No idea. Is that potentially screw rivet? Maybe. Maybe. Can't work this. Ah, what about this one? Something. Hang on. Let's have a look at this again. There's definitely something there in the middle, and there's something there, and there's something there. But I can't work out for the life of me what it is. I made the gun, yeah. Solar gold, is that what you went with? Oh, yeah, I remember you doing that. It looked great. Right, I'm going to go rivet. No, I'm not. That doesn't make sense. There must be a bolt somewhere. Oh, I suppose it doesn't have to be. Can't be bothered. Look, yeah, sounds about right. Okay, right, we're going to try different photos. This is getting too hard now. Is that number 2? Can't tell. Could be. Might just know it's black anyway. Ah, right, that looks more in focus. Come on, please. That looks better. Let's have a look. Right, I'm going to go rivet, bolt, rivet. I don't know. Showing something through inside the wrap. Or like a bolt on the... Actually, I think that's a bolt. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I think I'm going to go... I'm just, for the sake of the model, I'm going to go rivet, bolt, rivet. I don't know. Something like that. Let's just... Otherwise I'm going to be here all day trying to figure this out, and it feels like the lowest priority part. Let's go with that. We'll go. So we're going to go... Get rid of that whole thing. We'll go. So we're going to go... Rivet. Rivet. Where's that screw? That's 90. What was the colour on that missing? Oh, because rivet's got its own. Yeah, okay, fine. So we're going to go rivet, rivet. Bolt. I don't know, rivet, rivet, bolt, rivet, something like that. That needs to come out a little bit to get the black on it. Let's rotate that a bit. Oh, you clown. That's a mistake. Did I bevel that edge? I did bevel that edge, right. So rivet, right, so looking at this, we've got rivet, rivet, that's more in the middle actually. Bolt, rivet. Oh, it's just, I don't know. It's the same on that one. Same on that. This is, which one's this one? This is, that's Planet. I had a picture from Day of the Daleks. That one. And that's kind of similar, isn't it? Something, rivet, rivet. Something, rivet, maybe rivet. Oh, I'm just going to chuck a rivet in there, sod it, that'll do for now. There we go, something like that. Good enough for government work. Let's move on and do the back. Well, actually, do we need to do that? I suppose we might not be able to see that because that's, yeah, it's behind the wrist lap. We could add that on anyway because it adds a difference to the spacing. So what I'll do is I'll just, excuse me, I'll copy that over there. Go on front. Rear collar wrap 4. Drag this one up here. One. I'm going to get shot of a couple of these rivets. Delete, we'll leave the screw. There we go. I think we'll call it a day on that for the moment. On the on the wraps things. Get rid of that. Delete. Otherwise, I think that's getting there. I think we're getting there. Let's give that a quick render. See how it's coming out. I think this colour, the gold colour's looking a bit washed out actually. Slots thread on PDF entitled 7.2 rear rivet placement. Yeah. I think this gold's looking a bit washed out. I think we need to add more orange into it. And a bit more depth, maybe something like that. Oh, I don't know, actually that looks a bit funny. Is that looking better or worse? Have I ruined everything there? Because that gold's quite, actually that's quite similar to that gold. Something like that. I think we're getting there. I think that'll do actually. Yeah, so we'll save that. Okay. Git status. Git add dot to add all files. Git commit dash m finished quote wraps Big git push. Okay. That looks a bit strange now. Right, so I'll go doing the. Actually, we're going to do the rivets maybe, and then do the mesh. Let's do the rivets. So it looks like we've got around the back. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 line, kind of lined up with the panel joints. That one's a bit further round. Well, not rivets, sorry, they're screws, aren't they? Machine screws. So, let's grab one of these screw heads and we'll just copy them round. Rotate. So go. Right, what are we after? We're after what? Let's start with that one. So we're looking at about. What's that? It's about 4 inches. So we're looking at about an inch down from the top. So about there. Somewhere like that. Is that a bit high or is that the right place? That looks about right. Maybe a little bit low. No, that's about right actually. Those are round-headed screws with hemispheres with a slot. Yep. Yeah, it's quite a rich gold. Looks washed out on exterior film. Yeah, I guess you've kind of colour matched it actually. See, I think this is looking a bit washed out now, but well, I suppose you can readdress that later anyway. So there's one screw. We're going to get that to line up. Now what I've noticed is that these are a bit dented in, aren't they? So there is a bit of a dent around that. Not on that one though. So we'll just see if we can cut a little divot into this lower collar. So we'll do knife. Actually, just make sure we just select those and make sure that the cuts stay within those boundaries. So let's go something like this. So you can drag that up. Just want to cross through its midpoint. Trying to make effectively kind of build like a web up, and then you can make spiral circles around it and pull them in. Those rounded screws think so hemispheres. I'd be tempted to do the dents with a normal map seeing as they're fairly subtle. Yeah, true. I don't know, I guess I started now. Let's just try going point mode. MO to slide. We want to slide that out a bit. Knife tool. That's knife tool. That's really annoying. If you don't know how to use it. Check that out. Oh, maybe I can just pull that point in and see how that looks. So it's kind of put like a dent there. No, I suppose that's alright actually, just put a little dent in it. I used to do it always like this, but I used to do it. Actually, let's just do it the way I used to do it. Knife. That one, that one, that one. That one. Escape, there we go, need to merge these two together. MQ. Merge those two together. Oh, no. In the middle somewhere, let's try that. I suppose that's buggered the normal map up though, hasn't it, actually? Let's undo that. No, not sorry, it's probably buggered up the UV map, but never mind. Ah, sorry, that'll do. Done. I'll need to go to bed at some point today, so let's cut the crap too much, I think. That's that one. So next. Next one's lined up with that one. Maybe if I do top view. Can kind of arrange it like this somehow. There, like that, isn't it? F1, I drag that out a bit. Oh, you twonk. F2. Try that again, shall we? But in object mode rather than point mode. That'll make more sense. See if we can put that against there. Something like that. That one doesn't really look too indented. Oh, it's gone way down though, isn't it? Little things like this that are like so unique to each screw, they're a real pain in the behind. Okay. Now I need to refer to, oh, there's one there, but we can't really see that in that picture, so let's get rid of this picture for the minute. No, we'll do the one on that rear corner actually. That picture's saying that that one's kind of an inch in from that corner, so more like here. Okay, so grab a copy of that one. F2. Try and line it up somewhere where we think it should be. So I think it was like. So it's not there. It's like here, isn't it? Something like that. just as hard work is making these things sometimes. The amount of effort that goes into building half decent Dalek models is ridiculous. Like, you wouldn't believe it. So when, so, you know, when people kind of expect you to do stuff for nothing, they don't realise how much effort you've put into these things. It does look quite nice, this Dalek model, doesn't it? Right, okay, so we need some different reference and get rid of this one. I think we're done with this one. Oh no, that's quite useful, that one, because that tells us where this rear corner one is, which is a little bit ahead of that edge. So that's good, we can add that one in now. Change the rotation of that one so it's like level. So that was about there, wasn't it? Something like that. Just pull that out a bit. Oh no, it is that one we're talking about. Right, so we want to go back towards the shoulders. Sorry, this is probably not getting very entertaining as a stream, is it? It's very time consuming, this stuff. Why don't I tell you about how my aluminium Dalek's going? Because that's something that's happening very, very, very slowly. I've currently built, made a load of wooden neck rings, so I was going to try and post a video on Project Dalek's YouTube site page for making those. I just haven't got round to it yet. Actually, they're behind me. Like that. Gonna. I keep meaning to cast them out of aluminium, but the weather's been terrible. So for like 6 weeks of non-stop rain. So whenever I'm in Southampton, which most of the time now, it's just been awful. So the whole plan, the fact that I couldn't seem to be able to weld that metal for the skirt you might have seen on the Dalek group, I haven't been able to do any metal casting either. The weather's been appalling. So it's all kind of ground to a halt a little bit, which is a bit frustrating. I've got so much footage you wouldn't believe. Okay, that's that side. Have we got one of there? Can't see it. So that can go. This one is not relevant. This one is not relevant. So we need some more reference photos for the location of the rest of these. We can get rid of the Power of the Daleks pictures. Which one's that? Oh, that's the one I was just looking at, isn't it? Get rid of that. Get rid of that. This will be useful in a minute. That'll be useful in a minute. But we need this. We need the right-hand side of the Dalek. So let's see if there's a picture of that and get rid of the Planet of the Daleks folder. That's the left-hand side. That's the right-hand side. But does it go far enough to see where the bolt goes? That's so weird. It seems like one side of this Dalek's got all the bolts in the right place, and the other side they're all in completely the wrong place. On that side, it seems all the bolts line up with the. Oh, maybe they don't. Felt like they lined up with the. Oh, you're amazed. I'm still alive given all the toxic fumes you generate. Yeah, that's true. My lungs kind of are a bit like a cheese grater these days. I don't know. It's all right. Just bloody yeah. Most of the stuff I've inhaled, thankfully, tends to have a short-term toxicity, touch wood. But yeah, I wouldn't want to make a habit of it. Mind you, I got laryngitis the week after I inhaled those Teflon fumes. I lost my voice for about 3 days. I don't know, it might just be a complete coincidence, but it seems a bit fishy. Okay, so I think we've got that one. I think these have gone up, haven't they? They've actually got higher. I think they should be lower. Like that one, I think that should be down there somewhere. Maybe not so far. I think because they're at a funny angle, they've kind of slid downwards. Like that's way too high up, that one, surely. It should actually be like an inch down. So we're going to have to bring that back down there somewhere. If that's okay. Right, let's do the next one. So that one is kind of in a straight line with the edges of those hemispheres. So we zoom out a bit, the edges of those hemispheres go to about there, so I think that's where we want to be, something like that. Somewhere like that. I hope people have been enjoying those videos. I do think there's a lot. It's hard to edit so much stuff, and then you get. I think I'm gonna have to be a bit more brutal about cutting a load of crap out, because I think I keep making them too long. Like the fact that I thought I was gonna have one catch-up video, and it ended up being 60 minutes, and I thought I was being pretty brutal with the editing at the time, but there's still loads of shit in there, to be honest, that should be taken out. But you become like emotionally attached to stuff, and you think, oh, I can't get rid of that bit because I don't. Then you're not telling the story properly, and then oh yeah, some people like watching you make the ingots and stuff like that, which they do if you watch people who do videos for like metal casting videos that aren't Dalek related. Obviously, it's all about kind of the visceral thrill of watching people casting the ingots. People were into that, but the thing is, they're probably not the same audience as the people who want to watch me making a Dalek. So I'm not really sure. I'm going to try and figure out where I'm pitching these things. Do I want to be a metal casting YouTuber or a Dalek building one? Today I'm going to polish up this aluminium dome using uranium dust. Yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah. Touch wood, I haven't had any lung-based injuries recently. Mind you, probably because I haven't melted anything for ages. Right, so that's that one. Next one along, again lined up with the edge of the hemispheres, about 2 inches back from the, about 2 inches back from the front edge there. So, grab that one. This is taking a long time, isn't it? We're saying about there somewhere. There could be more videos that go into minute detail. Yeah, that's true. I kind of forgot, because I haven't done a lot of video editing for a while, until obviously recently, just how much effort it takes to edit videos. It's unbelievable. And I found I'm getting to the point where if I, like the last video, I spent like 4 weeks on it, something crazy like that. A lot of times when somebody's building something, there's one video at the start, and then the next video is here's the finished article. Yeah, that's true. I thought about I'm going to try not to release another video on that project until I've made a part. So like the next time I do a aluminium Dalek video, I want to have my skirt section built. I want to have, even if it hasn't got the hemispheres on it, even if it's just a shell, you know, I want to do like the reveal of taking all the plastic covering off. I want to make sure it's built together. It looks nice. It's got all the hemisphere holes cut in it because I'm actually gonna trepan the skirt and put the holes in it, which I've never seen anyone do a push through skirt with a aluminium Dalek. I'm not saying nobody's done it. I just haven't ever seen it. Partly because I've got these hemispheres there that I want to try and use these, and I actually want to try and cast these because these are supposedly come from derived from, well, Dalek 7. So I want to try and, you know, have that little bit of provenance in my build, even though obviously it won't have much of it because it's metal and not cast from down in fiberglass. Okay, so I think they're mostly alright. Oh, something smelly about that. Is it the right place? Can't really work it out. Kind of looks right. I suppose it's right enough. But yeah, so the next video, even though I've got like something in the order of 90 hours of footage of it or something ridiculous like that, I want to keep it down to 10 minutes because but then there's like a lot of good information there. Like I calculated how you can actually mark out panels and do examples and that sort of stuff. So maybe I could break it down into some other bits. Don't know. I thought about putting, like I said, we got the Project Dalek YouTube channel now. So what about putting like the detail-y stuff? Some of it can go on that for people as like a how-to thing, and then whereas my stuff would be more like, this is what I did, rather than this is how you do it. Don't know. Right, so where's the next one going? There. So that's kind of lined up with maybe a centimetre in from that edge. Actually, a better marker would be the front on view, wouldn't it? Because we could see. See that it's actually lined up pretty well with the edge of the gun box. It's quite a way round from there to there, actually. Right, so it's going to go over here somewhere, and over there. Excuse me. So how high up is that? That is virtually right on the edge, isn't it? So it's a tiny little bit extra there to there. That's from square on like that, you can see that it lines up, so it's like there. Wasn't really supposed to be my plan to do for my channel to be all Dalek related stuff, but it does seem to be at the moment. Wonder if it would be easier to find someone with a press and stamp the hemis out of sheet. Don't know how thin walled you can cast with these. I have seen people cast about 3 or 4 millimeters, like people make a lot of coins and stuff. But you're right, that would probably be quite good if you could get somebody to do that. Well, I wouldn't have the first clue where to find anyone who could do that. Maybe. I wanna have a go at, I've seen people on YouTube doing home anodizing, so I really want to try that out as well. Even though it sounds like, you know, that'll be another thing that will be a potential lung injury. There's a lot of sulfuric acid involved in that. It would be amazing if you could pull it off. Okay, Okay, so we're halfway round. This is taking forever. I suppose these are what makes models look good. Okay, so on that one we've gone all the way round, so that is of no value anymore. Back to the front view. So that one is kind of halfway between the edge of that panel and the edge of the gun box. So it's kind of in the middle, and it's about the same height, isn't it? So in this instance, it would be about there, I think. Trouble with stamping would be making the dies. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do anything like that. I wouldn't have the first clue how to machine. So you'd have to machine out of hardened steel, wouldn't you? I suppose. Right, let's just move this out of the way. It's very red in this stream. Right, so I was going around this way. I'll just carry on this way. Okay, F2. Kind of want that. Somewhere like there. It was about halfway between those two, wasn't it? So like that. There's only a couple more to go, isn't there? There's 1, 2. That is 2, isn't there? I don't think I'll bother with the top collar. I think we'll just get the mesh on and try and crack on with the slats. Man, your skill at it. Oh, thanks. Yeah, we're getting there. It's just time. It's so time consuming. I forget. It's nothing that I'm doing that's especially hard. It's just about taking the time to look at the photos and actually copy stuff. You know, I'm not especially good at Cinema 4D, but a lot of people just don't look at things. So I tend to try not to put something down unless I've seen it in a photo. I might omit things, but I don't try and add anything that I've not seen. I don't put five rings on an Imperial Dalek size door. Right, okay, so we want I think that one's done with, isn't it? Get rid of that. Now I guess we're back to this one. So we got, is that one there? Or was that just a dent? I can't really tell. One there. I think there's one there, isn't there? Oh man, you're going to need a second citation now. Come on, that can't be the only left-hand side picture. There we go. Oh, there we are. Oh, weird place to have a collar, there is. Oh, there we are. That kind of debunks the having the top of the skirt on too far forward. That's right the way back. I think the collars just stick out miles. So there we go, we've got one there, about 2 inches in, like we had on the other side, and then we've got one that's kind of lines with the 3/4 mark on that hemisphere. Okay, we'll be doing that then. Ooh, what am I doing? So this one, that's the same position, so this one's going to go roughly somewhere like that. Ooh, that's a mistake, isn't it? Let's try rotating that through 90 degrees and try that again. Ooh, where have we gone? Lost. There we go. I'm in a hemisphere. There's that one. I think I'm going to not worry about doing the dents for the moment, just because we're trying to get stuff done. So I think the last one needs to go like here, isn't it? Something like that, about there. So it was kind of aligned with that bit. It was 3/4 of the way through the. So it's about there. Let's just confirm. Yeah, so follow a line up hemispheres, and it's what's even yeah, it's about that. It's actually about there. Oh dear, entertainment. We're getting there. We're getting there. I think that's it, isn't it? I think we're going to call it a day on the screws. That'll do. Sod it. We made a vague effort to try and get it right. Let's save that, and then let's update the repository. So git status, one file change, git add dot to change one file, git commit -m added sheen screws to lower collar, git push. That's my GitHub repo updated if anyone wants to actually use it. Okay. So I think what we need to do now is I think we need to be looking at adding the mesh. What I might do is I might leave it oversized and then trim it back after I put the slats on, because it's hard to kind of gauge how big it needs to be until you put the slats on. Let's try that. It's a very coarse mesh, this one, isn't it, compared to what I'm used to from the 60s stuff. I'm used to that. Excuse me. Okay, right, so when we're doing the mesh, effectively we're going to be using, so I'm going to close that up, close that up, close that up. I'm going to use the loft that we used before and just tweak it a bit so it fits. In fact, what I could do is I'm thinking I might actually just drag that out, back that up just in case. Thinking I might just make it editable and then just manually kind of work it to fit, something like that. Because it actually looks like where we've changed this. I suppose we could. Well, I suppose that fits around that. If I go C key, make that editable. Actually, that should be kind of lining up with the top color. So I think what we need to do is we need to just kind of expand it in all directions, really. That should swallow the collar up, like that. And then what we can do, I'll tell you, if I can make a copy of gold paint, if I call that gold mesh, we can then apply. So we're going to use an alpha map, and I've got a texture in the folder, and that is of course not the folder I was opening. It's going to be in here in the texture folder. I'm going to use that mesh alpha, and of course it always renders it upside down, so let's try that instead. And then I've got a bump map as well, so we're going to I found a way we're going to keep the noise. We're just going to do load image mesh bump. Now it's not quite mesh. I just kind of made something really simple in Photoshop just for the sake of it. So it's not quite the way mesh is done, but it's good enough. Just gives it a little bit of texture. You probably can't really make out actually. Okay, so we're going to chuck that gold mesh material over shoulder mesh, and there we are. Perfect, done. There's a good clear shot of the mesh when the Daleks outside episode 4 and kill 2 unit soldiers by the Alright, I actually haven't got the flipping DVD with me. It's in my storage room, so I can't even go. I didn't think about it until too late. I should have gone and got the actual disc and I could have referred to it, but I haven't got access to it here. It's a bit of a pain in the arse, to say the least. Right, this is a good question. So have we got a UV map for this? Well, I suppose we can. What we really want to do is we want to kind of get a scale of how big the mesh is. So this is kind of close enough. I reckon it's a bit twice as wide as it is tall. Twice as tall as it is wide, sorry. And we get in, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a bit diamonds for the width of that upper collar. So if we can tweak it something like that, I think it will look reasonable. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to change the number of tiles on the U and V ratio. So if I change this number up, effectively it should go up massively. We're increasing the number of times that mesh is tiled around the whole circle. I'm going to make that, let's try 20. And let's make that, so that's about the right sort of scale, isn't it? So if we double that, we must have to double that. If we made that 40, we must have to make that 2. Ooh. Actually, just to make it, let's just turn the colour off so it's standing out a bit. So what did we say? What did we say the number of diamonds were? I think it was about 5, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, start again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe it needs to be a bit coarser than that. So maybe the tiles in that direction need to be up a little bit. So maybe 2.2. Or maybe that needs to be 44. Let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and a bit? Is it 4 and a bit or 5 and a bit? 5.5. Okay, thank you. I'm glad somebody's on the ball because I'm losing the plot. Let's try 2.4 and 48 then. So we're getting, now we're saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a bit. 5 and a, that's about right. There we go, 5.5. So the question is that how is that kind of contouring around the? Pretty good actually. Pretty good alignment. It's not sticking out miles further. As long as it looks like it basically kind of contours around, I think we can get away with it just by slapping the slats over the top. It sticks out a bit, but I think we're okay. I think we'll get away with it. Yeah, okay. I think that's about the right sort of scale. Yeah. So now what I think we'll do is, if you're like me, you have to get it just right. What program I'm using? Blender. I'm using Cinema 4D, which is unfortunately not a free program, but everything that you can do in this, you can do exactly the same stuff in Blender. I'm just not used to it. This is something I've used for a few years, so it was a quick thing to me to start with. But there's nothing that I'm doing in Cinema 4D that you couldn't do exactly the same thing in Blender with. Let's save that quickly. Okay, what I'll do for that, it's if I put the slats on, I can then cut the mesh up afterwards. I think that's probably the easiest way of doing it. Maybe I can make the opacity of that low, and we can, or X-ray or something, so it's easier to see through. Okay, now so I'm going to make a long slat and a short slat. I'm going to drag that shoulder mesh under the shoulder shell. Hide the Dalek for the moment. Right, so for the slats, back to the plans. And I think it's this way. Actually, it does give you dimensions for the mesh, but I think I actually eyeballed it rather than use that, because that's like a best guess rather than actually what works for this particular model. So where's the dimensions for the slats? There we go. So there's a small slat and there's a large slat. So let's try the model small slat first. So we're going to say it's effectively a cube, isn't it? So I'm going to call that small slat. Okay, and it is 3 millimeters thick. So if you let's make it Y size 3. We're doing flat. 127 millimeters high. So if you make X size 127, and it is 51 millimeters wide. So you know, in the top view it makes more sense to go the other way, doesn't it? So we swap those over. 51, and we'll make that 127. There we go, that makes a bit more sense. Okay, so I'm going to move it in the X direction, 51 over 2. Just spelled like that. And I'm going to move it in the Z direction, 127 over 2. And then we go F1. I'm going to make this editable with the C key, and I'm going to bevel all the edges slightly. This is acrylic, so you can kind of, it's probably going to have quite sharp edges, so I'm just going to put a tiny bevel on it. So we go to edge mode, Control A, select all, right click. Actually, I don't normally do it like that. Bevel, and I'm going to add a tiny little bevel on it, like that. I'm going back to F2. I'm going to copy one of the rivets that we've just used on the collars. It's in one of these wraps, isn't it? So grab one of those, copy that out, make that a child of the small slat, and then 0 the coordinates in object mode. Oh, and it's also in the wrong rotation, so I sort that out. Actually, make sure that's going the right way. There we go. I'm going to make sure that that rivet sits on top of the slat. Okay, F2. Exterminate from PDF here. Looking good so far. Oh, thank you very much. So, back to the plans. So the position of that slat, they're all down the centre line. One of them's 20mm from the bottom, and the other one is 72mm from the top. Okay. So let's tell you what we'll do. We'll actually change the axis so it's in the same plane. So we're going to say that the Z position is going to be 20 on that one. That's completely not what I wanted to do. Let's try that. Z position is 20. Actually, we'll do this in global space. Z position is 20 for that one, and then the second one is 127 minus 72 effectively. So drag a copy of that, and that Z position is 127 minus 72. Okay, so there's our small slat. Gonna chuck the gold paint on there for the moment, and then I'm actually gonna we're gonna shove those under there. I'm actually gonna copy that and use that to make the larger slat. So we're gonna hide the small slat, and for the large slat, dimensions are length is 216, and there's 72mm between the two. I guess 3 times 72 is 216, isn't it? So if we go F2, top view, so 216. So I think we need to move these two. So previously they were, if we went to go to world view, previously they were in 127, but now I think they should be 216, and that keeps the same length of bevel. Actually, it's 5.9. And then what we want to do is we want to move the rivets so they are 72 and 144. So 72. Oh no, on object mode. 72, 144. There we go. One, and there is a large slat. So we can shove that along, put back into object mode relative. Enable the small slat. There we go. So there's the 2 sets of slats that we want. Now I've got to try and get them all over the Dalek, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, but never mind. Okay. I'm just going to save that actually. Right, let me just have a sip of drink quickly. Okay, right, let's plonk the Dalek back on. So we've got our roughed in mesh that's not quite finished yet. What I think we should do is effectively we'll make an object whose centre is at the top of the mesh. Actually, we could use an array maybe. I don't know, that might not be the best way of doing it actually. Don't know, okay. we'll tell you what. We'll make an object at the top of the circle of that. Okay, so I'm going to create a null object. I'm just going to call it null. Actually, that'll do. We want to center it on. I guess we haven't got a reference to that actually. So we want to center it on the gold Dalek object 0, but we need to make its height the top of the skirt. Not the skirt, sorry, we want to make its height the top of the shoulders. Something like that. Do you make other props like Cybermen helmets or sonic screwdrivers? What do you mean? Do I actually physically make them, or do I model them on 3D? I did do a Cyberman once, but years ago. I did a lot of like animation of missing, like tried animating missing stories, but it just takes so long. There's just not enough hours in your life, unfortunately, for all this stuff that you want to try and do. Okay, so I'm going to drag that under the large slat. I'm going to 0 all the positions. 0, 0, 0. 1. Right, I'm going to change the rotation of this actually. So rotate it around by 90 degrees. Actually, I should make that minus 90. And then I'm going to flip it down about 77, that'll do. And then I'm going to offset this. Going world mode. Sorry, no, to the line. World axis. Oh dear me, come on. Why don't you let me select the axis or now? It's annoying. Alright, fine, we'll just set that to 90. And I can move it forward. Any really. Not really anymore. I don't really get any time. Up until now, I haven't really had any time to do any of this sort of stuff. I've only got time now because I've kind of rejigged my job so that I can do stuff like this. I did make a Cyberman model years ago. It wasn't very good. It was alright. I made like a few human models, but I never really got anywhere because I don't know. I like Daleks really. That's what I'm really into. Right. Okay. So I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna pull this down. Hide that one. Try and align this roughly. And then try and use this, use the rotation of this null object to line them up. So if I get that one, I'll push it so it intersects with that. I want to get the height right. I think that's about right. So now what I can do is I can rotate this null object around its center, and it should kind of place them all roughly in the right place. So that's going to be, let's try, actually let's get some references for this. It's always good to look at pictures. So we want a front view, maybe that one. That's a good reference of front one view. Actually, those front two slats are spaced pretty well. They basically both end on the edge of that. So the first one is going to be about there. So I could drag that out. Second one is going to be about there. Drag that out. Ooh. Drag that out. Third one. The edge of that lines up. It's on a bit of a tilt, but the edge of it lines up. Alright, how difficult would you think it would be to make a one-to-one replica of the classic Sonics? Yeah, I agree with Marine Dalek. If you've got a lathe, it shouldn't be that difficult, because that's basically all it is. It's just a lathed out block of tube of metal. But if you haven't got one, good God, I wouldn't want to even try it. I suppose you could. I suppose I could, if I was going to make one. I don't actually have a lathe, but I could 3D print one. And then try casting the part out that I've made out of, that I've 3D printed effectively. How's that doing? Is that lining up roughly? We're going to have to hand fettle all these anyway. Right, buying pre-made tubes and adding removing bits and moulding. Yeah, I suppose that might be doable. I don't know. Like I said, I would have thought it'd be very difficult without a lathe though. And it's probably not much more difficult than trying to place all those hemispheres I just did a minute ago. Actually, I say that it's almost impossible without a lathe, unfortunately. So that one's slightly wider, further apart. Oh no, you can't see the wind. You can't see the picture, can you? So that one there is slightly further apart than these two, and then those two are really close together. So the last one on that side is it's kind of like there. Something like that, maybe even closer than that. And on this side, there's a bit of a bigger gap. So on that side, it's more like there. So I know I haven't quite lined these up, but I should just be able to push them in and then tilt them to the right angles, hopefully, by doing it like this. So that's the small slats. Actually, I'll get it back under there. Now what we can do is get the large slat. Undo. Drag that, line it up with a small slat. So zero that out. So take that out of the small slat, so I'm using that, so I can still use this knoll to kind of rotate it around. And then I'm going to try and place that one, so that one's going to go, so we look at this, I guess we need the side view for that. Oh, what have I done here? That's not the side view I'm looking for. I want to see the right hand side. Have I got that open? No, that's the left hand side, of course. There's a good shot of the right hand side though. So that slat lines up pretty perfectly with that corner. So we're going to rotate that round and it should land up about there. Whew. Okay, next, so we've got 1, 2, 3, and then that one there ends up with its right edge pointing at that screw, and they're pretty spaced evenly between the three of them. Whoop. So we're going to copy the large slat out. So if I go all the way along to this one, no, that's when you need to kind of pivot the slat out a bit. So that's kind of going something like there. Then we want to get, so we've got 3 in the middle, so we need to evenly space those 3. So drag that one out. So that means we can move that one. Oh, that one bang in the middle somewhere, like that. And this one's bang in the middle of those 2. And this one's bang in the middle of those 2. Something like that. So I'm just, as you can see, I'm just kind of roughing out their positions rather than actually placing them in properly. So actually we could shove those back a bit. Yeah, in fact doing that's kind of screwed there. Spacing up. Oh dear. On the positive side, at least it's equally as much of a pain in the arse to do this in real life as it is to do it on a 3D model. Okay. So that picture's kind of exhausted for the slat placement, so we need to see the back one again. Oh dear. It's not a massive amount. We might have kind of have a void where we can't see anything. So we've got one directly in the back, the right edge of which, the left edge, sorry, lines up with the left edge of that. So we can put that in place. Rotate this around. Oh, no. Just drag that one out. So I'm going to drag this one round to the center, and that wants to line up so that edge lines up with the back. So that's about where that one wants to go. Hence why the slats always look like they were thrown at the Dalek from a great distance. Yeah, it's really hard to put them on. Even on the real Dalek, I found it took ages. So between there and there, I'm guessing there's 3 probably. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and they're pretty much evenly spaced. Not much of a surprise, really. So, means one goes in the middle, like that. even if you get them perfectly lined up, there'll be a screw or a bit of mesh in just the wrong place that don't fit. Yeah, I don't know how they left all the screws and the. I don't know why they left like the wraps on the top belt or anything like that. Because yeah, when I was attaching my slats, if you tried riveting them over a screw, it effectively kind of bent the slat around the screw, and then it tended to snap or crack or something. Mind you, I suppose Shawcraft are slightly more talented than I am. Which could be part of the problem. Actually, I would say that, but then of course they're already, one of the slats is already broken by the chase already. Right, so one wants to go in the middle somewhere. Something like that. Tell how non-spherical this corner is. Because once I've gone round this loop of just roughing them in, I've then got to go and sort them all out. So that's going to be another 20 minutes. Oh, dearie me. Maybe they offset them with washers on the backs of the slats or something. Yeah, maybe. I think that's probably the only way you can do it. But unless you want to do what I did, which is just kind of bend all the slats. Right, I need a drink actually. What are we doing for time? Oh dear. Well, this will be going to bed at 4 AM. Not even started on the next section yet. Okay, that's the last slat. Copy that one out. So we need to look at this edge. So we've got 3. Actually, that one there, that lines up kind of with that corner. So we can pencil that one in. And then there's 3 between that. So that's going to go all the way around there. All the way around like that, because you want that edge and that corner lining up. Kind of a bit like that. And then we want 3 in the middle. Excuse me. So 1 in the middle of those. Out there. One in the middle of those 2. I think it's perfectly acceptable to hand place these rather than doing it programmatically, because they're all hand placed anyway, and quite often they are not really placed in any particular with any particular sort of care, especially when it comes to the later Daleks. Dalek 7 that Shawcraft made was a work of art, really. Aside from the wonky hemispheres, absolutely amazing. But anything subsequent to that, who knows? That's that bit. Okay, now we just need to fill in the last few and then we can line them up. So I think we've expired this picture. Now we're back to a left hand side one. So actually looking at this one again. So yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 to go. So if I line this one up, that's just ahead of that angled part of the collar there. So it's at about centimetre and a half in front of it, and then 3 equally spaced between, and then we just need to push them and line them up properly. So So we're going to rotate this one all the way around so it lands up about there. I want to say looks about right. Touch more that way. Maybe about that. And then now we want to put one in the middle, two on either side, and I think we're done with the placement. That's just tuning their position somewhat. It's pretty much the middle. And one in the middle of those. And finally one in the middle of those. Save that. Right, now I've got to go around all of these slats and then angle, push them back and line them up with the mesh. Doesn't look quite as nice as it should, really, does it? If I render that, it looks like a bit of a disaster. Mind you, I have actually seen worse. Oh, hang on, what's going on here? All the small slats haven't rendered. Oh, dear me. What's the front one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right. Oh, you shit bucket. Oh, there we go. Right, let's try it again. I mean, it's going to look like ass, but... Blimey, stream's crippling my rendering. There we go. Yep, so that... I mean, that's pretty much done, isn't it? Quite. Okay. Right, so if I refer back to this, we're looking at something like a centimetre above the... Well, actually, you can't really judge it like that, can you? But they're kind of, that's the kind of distance we want the bottom of that slat. So if I start on that one, kind of work around, could do that. So now we're going to have to line these all up with a mesh as best we can. Oop. So the top of that's intersecting with the mesh, so we need to pull that out a bit. Looks a relatively good fit. Does it need angling? It does need to slant a little bit front to back. It should go that axis and then touch. And how's the alignment? Needs to go down a bit, I think. There. Oh, I think that's kind of done. There's one. Only 22 to go. Right, back to the picture. They're kind of quite parallel, aren't they? I think I've over tilted that one actually. It's probably more like that. Alright, next. might have slightly intersected with the mesh. Does seem to be quite well lined up. That one's alright, we just need to tweak the position. I don't think this is going to end up perfect. Bottom half Shorecraft, top half Radio Times. Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, anything the BBC reworked went to shit pretty quick, didn't it? Top picture. Same sort of distance. Actually, is that one a little bit higher up? I think it is. But then so is that one. Okay, on to the next one. I think these are all kind of going and heading away from where they should be. Oh dear. I'll tell you what, I can't especially say I enjoy doing this bit. I don't know there are many people who do. But it is a pain in the arse. Right, I think we're alright with that one-ish. Right, what about the height alignment? Must be about there, doesn't it? I'll read the Radio Times plans. I feel like the conversation went, we need to draw up some plans for a Dalek, but you're not allowed to see one. Yeah, I mean, so weird, isn't it? I just like kind of made it up. Got some guy to take a look at 3 photos of a Dalek, but never actually measure one up. It seems so weird. Maybe they deliberately made it so you couldn't copy them. I don't know. They're so bad that you kind of can't believe that they got them so wrong when they had access to the real thing. So it almost makes you think, well, maybe they deliberately got it wrong. Well, it does seem to be common, doesn't it? It always amazes. I know the Daleks are such a difficult shape, aren't they? Never really gets like a handle on them. I think even now, I think there's something not quite right with the skirt section just yet, but I can't see what it is. Something to my eyes not perfect, but I think I kind of got an idea, but I can't really put my finger on it. That's so weird. No, we're up to 4. We're flying through these. Jesus Christ. Still be doing this in about a month. Right, on to the next one. See, something wrong. Something's amiss about that bit. Cheat the angle a bit to make it look a bit more favourable. How are we doing? Right, I guess I should be referring to photos with this stuff. Let's have a look. Oh, see, that one's a bit higher up. Is that what I'm just doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that one. So that one's got to go up that way a bit. Okay. Tell you what, this is prime time television viewing. This is Jesus. What's going on with that one? Why is that sticking out so much? Have I missed one out here? I haven't, I? I've forgotten to do that one. Clown. Oh, Jesus. Oh, this is like the most monotonous job. This is worse than the hemispheres. Looking at skirt 2 in one photo, it seems like the front panels under the gun are quite a bit narrower than the corresponding panels under the plunger arm. Hard to tell if that's lens distortion. That's true. The front gun side panel is way narrower. And there's also another thing as well. The hemispheres aren't directly down the middle as well. So they go closer to the front edge, I think. But yeah, that panel is narrower. Obviously, we haven't done it because when we did the Project Dalek plans, we made them symmetrical. But yeah, this one comes about here, not otherwise. Panel comes to about there, I think, and then the hemispheres, they go off like that towards the inside edge. Really strange effect. But you don't really notice it. I think we could look at it on a picture actually. You can see it when you do the square on photos. When there is one in this folder. Not that one. Actually, you can see it in that one as well. Actually, see that? So look how much closer that is to the inside edge than that one is. Even though it's obviously at an angle, that panel there, that would only come up to about here, I think. So yeah, that panel's always a bit shallower, and this one the hemispheres kind of dive into the left a bit as well. So actually, it's a better example. We'll have a look at the gold Dalek. Let's look at that one. So that's actually is square on, and we can see that distance and that distance. That is a little bit bigger than that is. What was it doing? Oh yeah, this nightmare. Not finished that one yet then. It's quite hard to do these back corners because the mesh is twisting as you go down, so you line up one side of it and then you pull it out, and then it doesn't line up with the next bit. Right, so we need to refer back to the picture. Can't really see that one now, so that's the one that's higher up. Now we need to go back to the rear pictures again. Oh, dear me. Come on. I know you exist, I've seen you before. There you are. So we'll work around to this sort of angle, but yeah, trouble is it's high up. Oh, notice look at that almost touches there. something to make the lower collar droop? No, I can't be bothered. I think that's going to have to wait for another day. Chapman's virtually done, actually. It's pretty easy. Put it down a bit. That one. Miles out. Oh, all you kids who get this free model, you don't know how good you got it. I'm going to go through this agony of placing slats against the mesh. It's a sort of crime, punishment they give to, like, it's like a sort of punishment a creative judge would come up with. Just looking at skirt 2 and 1 photo. Oh yeah, could be the high angle though. You need that image from planet outside the Thal ship. Which one's that? God, I'm not even halfway through these yet. The trouble is you can't, because this is asymmetrical, it's not like you can even mirror one side to the other. Oh, sorry, stream's going a bit silent here. We're almost getting there. Just having my emotional fortitude chipped away at. Right, we're almost there. We're almost there. I've only got halfway to go. All the front ones. I mean, how many have I done? Like 6? Oh dear. I think I know why I haven't made one of these things for a while. Oh, where am I going? Using the plot. Imagine this was your job and you did this stuff every day. Soon take the fun out of animation, wouldn't it? Some parts of this I really enjoy, and then there's stuff like this which is just, you just feel like you're not getting anywhere. I don't mind spending time doing stuff, but it's when it's like a chore, like this is. Oh, it's painful. So that needs to go down. These need to be quite close to the bottom, actually. Oh, the rear slat where it was nearly touching me. Oh yeah, see, I'm going to take a bit of creative license on that because I think it means I needed to move the. I'm going to do that maybe, but we can get away with it a bit. But I think because I didn't change where the back of the collar's going, it would have made it quite difficult. Okay, so I made a bit of an effort at getting it to go down, but I'm not going to be able to get it that match exactly because I think I needed to change the collar and I haven't got time to do that. Trying to use the mesh intersecting and try and get it like even, and then you know you've kind of lined up. with the mesh fairly well. And then it's just about pulling it out and lining it up with the other ones. But it's very difficult. I mean, look how much that's going in. That one. That can't be right. Daleks are pretty awkward things to model though, worse curves with sharp edged things against them, yeah. I think all the skirt is pretty straightforward. Everything from there down is, and everything from there up is easy. But this bit, this bit's a nightmare. Just the shoulder section is such a bizarre shape. Trying to take a sort of, was effectively nearly a kind of triangle or like a pentagon sort of shape and turn it into a circle, and then try and get everything to flow around that. It's so difficult. It's no wonder you get people who, when they build the shoulders, and they've got. I remember Blun, I think, built the shoulders shell without any mesh or slats or anything. Well, he wasn't going to use that because it was a Mark 1. And he sat it on top of his skirt and he viewed it from this angle, and he couldn't understand why it looked so wrong. It's because it looks so weird without the mesh and slats are what kind of complete the look and kind of complete the transition from angled section to circular neck rings. Without that, it just looks so weird because it is such a strange shape. They had it spot on though, that's the thing. Now what's going on with this one? This is what I don't understand. How does it, whenever I model these, how do they get them to not look wider at the bottom than they are at the top? I suppose they are a little bit. It's very difficult to get that bit right. I mean, should I be rotating that one a bit? Try that. See, it feels like it's gone too far now. Oh, I don't know. So I'll just make out like it's intentional and it wasn't. Trying to do this bit's killing my back, having to lean in and see the mesh. That's miles out, that one. Oh, getting through these quickly, slowly but surely. That's pretty good. Now these get the height of these right. I think this is this is the last large slat, isn't it? So I'll get the positioning of this one correct. That rear corner always looks wonky. It does, doesn't it? There's such a sharp corner there to there. I bet it sticks out so far that whenever you see it from 45 degrees, it looks horrible. But somehow, like having the mesh and the slats around there, it just kind of makes that bit less obvious. kind of smooths it out. I've no idea what this is like as a televisual experience. This must be some watching. Okay, right, so we're there. Oh, what's going on? Why is this window not coming to the front? So let's have a look at the right hand side, see if we've got something about that. The left, not the right. Yeah, okay, that's probably good enough. I think that's crept up actually. That gap down there is small, and then it's gone up those last two slats, so I'm going to slide those two up. That's gone up a bit more than I planned. There you go, and then it's kind of lining up a bit more with the front slats. Right, let's get these 6 done, and then trim the mesh down. I'll have to try and make a decision whether I'm going to try and finish this tonight or not. Can't be many people planning on staying up until 4 AM. That's one. There's 2 that'll do. It's starting to look the part though, thankfully. Finally. It's getting there, come on. Getting impatient now. What's that? I left another small slat at the front. Let's delete that. How do I manage that? Oh, is there 2 to go after this? Let's pull that out a bit, that'll do. You're kind of lucky a bit, well, I'll say lucky in a way, it's not lucky at all. You kind of get the opportunity to intersect the mesh and get away with it on this model. When I was doing the 60s Daleks, you had the slats aren't painted on the outside, they're painted on the inside, so I have to have a clear front and the painted back, which means you can't intersect with the mesh because then it shows up. That'll do, last one. Last one. There we go. Right. Saving that before I ruin everything. Right, so I'll save. Now we're just going to chop up the mesh and make it, and I think maybe that will be calling it a night for tonight. So let's have a look at, we need to see where the mesh goes. So on this side, it actually goes very close to the bottom edge there. So actually, why am I not? I need to group these slats together actually. Group objects, slats. I need to go under the shoulder section. So now we need to edit the mesh. They're almost there though. I think that's the hardest bit left of the entire Dalek done now. Because that dome in the eye stalk's actually pretty easy. The only other thing that's a bit tricky, I think it's going to be modelling the oh my god, I'm having a brain freeze. Modelling the the Land Rover lenses. Wait, flash, that's not right. What am I talking about? Y-packs. There we go. Okay, shoulder mesh then. So we want to do knife tool, loop. I think looking at this picture, the front mesh is right just underneath the slats. So we're going to go about there for that. And at the top, quite a bit lower, so that's like a centimetre or two. I'm going to go somewhere like there. And then round the sides, I'm going to go again right close to the bottom edge, about there, cut. And then I guess the only other thing to do is there's a little bit there, and then there's a break in the front. So if I want to go knife tool, line mode, I'm going to do knife tool, line cut. I'm just going to cut from here down to there, and then we have our sort of overextending bit of mesh. So I'm going to go U loop select point mode. I'm going to select those bottom points, delete, select those top points, delete. I'm going to select these points here, delete. And then we need to see where the mesh goes on this side. So we need our reference picture again, but this side we're going to be looking at, probably not that, maybe this one. No, see what else we've got. That one maybe. I really ought to make up some drawings of my Y-packs. I do have in my reference folder, somebody put a picture. I was going to use this. I remember this from years ago. That's from like 2005, I remember that Y-pack thing. But yeah, I was going to use this as a model reference, so I was effectively going to model the outside and the inside. Added a texture for the lines around there. Thought about maybe adding a texture for a few dots in the middle. But basically just try and use that lens shape and try and use the diffusion for that. And then I've got a picture from John's, which has got the dots in it. But I don't think we're going to get that far tonight. What was I looking at? I was going to look at this picture here, because I wanted to look at, oh that's useless, that's no good. That's too low resolution. Right, close, and close that one. Back to reference pictures, original gold Dalek. Let's see if this was high enough resolution. Okay, so you can't see the mesh under there, so that's good. And that mesh almost comes to the bottom of that, but I think we're okay. So I'm just going to delete all the way around there. And say that, maybe call it job done on the shoulder section, I think. Let's see how that looks if we render that. Oh dear, Streamlabs is crippling my computer. I need a new machine. 7 to use the pebble texture. Oh yeah, there's some without that, isn't there? Oh, hang on, what we're doing? We can turn back the colour onto that now, can't we? Let's turn that back on. Now it's back to being gold mesh. We'll save, render again. There we have it. I think that's where I'm going to get to today. Is it? Oh, I don't know. So part of me wants to do the neck. It's so easy. No, I think we're going to leave it there for the moment, and then I might pick this up again tomorrow, maybe. But it's not looking too bad, I don't think. It's pretty close. It's considering it's just modelled from a set of generic plans. I think that's looking pretty good. I've not really gone to any effort with it, but with like the texturing or whatever. But yeah, I think it looks not too bad. Actually, one thing I have just noticed looking at it is that it looks like the oval's quite high up. So what I might just do quickly while I can see it is I might slide the oval down a bit. So I'm going to select the oval and I'm going to slide that down there. And then try it, because it looked like that was quite high up. Yeah, it looks a bit better. Okay. I think I'm going to save that, so we're going to do file save, and I think we're going to call it a night for the evening and pick it up again tomorrow evening probably. And so where are we? Oh, dashboards. What am I doing? I'm losing the plot here. I want to save that, and then I want to push that to Git. So Git status. One thing, so Git add dot Git commit -n slats aligned with mesh and Git push. Time is it? Yeah, 12:30. Yeah, I think that's time to go to bed. Okay, I think I'm gonna wrap up the stream with that for the moment. Thanks very much for bearing with me. I know this is probably, it's a good indicator of how much effort goes into making even quite a trivial model like this. So thanks for bearing with me, and thanks for all the commenting, Marine Dalek, John P, and who else was there? It was I don't want to misquote your name, Kyle the Dalek, and anyone else who's watched. Thanks very much. I'm going to call it a day, and I might pick it up again tomorrow. We'll finish off with the neck section and the dome and the eye stalk and the WIPAC lenses. I don't think that's actually too much work. Those bits are actually quite straightforward to model. So thank you very much, and I'm going to disappear. Thank you.